Guys, I am 25 and like most of the people my age, I've spent last couple of years of my life being into toxic relationships, playing video games, scrolling social media feed for hours, and like every other thing that has the potential to ruin my career. But unlike most of us, today I have got someone who has spent his life, like the life so far, and all his resources, his energy, his money, his time, and everything into saving thousands of innocent lives. Guys, I am at Cyber Farm, and today I have got the man behind this beautiful place, Mr. Cyrus McClure. Come, let's meet him. So Cyrus, thank you for being on the show. Guy, you are an inspiration to the millions of youth out there. आपका काम जो है, like the moment I walked in, this place had some different kind of energy, different kind of aura. All the animals, they were like making noises and shouting, and they like welcomed us in their own way. So I literally felt warm and that welcoming feeling when I walked in. So thank you once again. Cyrus, let's begin with how many animals do you have right now, including your horses and the cows and like pigeons and everything?
Altogether, we must be having around 150 of them. That is from small, big, all the animals, reptiles, birds, and animals. And so around we have around 150.
150 right now.
The number keeps fluctuating, but
150 and counting.
in counting.
Okay, coming up to the next. So, what was the first animal that you rescued and when? How old was that?
The first animal I rescued, obviously being a very small age, I can't go picking up large animals. So the first animal I rescued was a dog, which to me it was an injured animal. So I brought it home, and so that is where my journey starts with the dog.
And how old were you then? Like
I was around 4 years that time. I just come back from school and I saw this dog lying on the road, and that's when I just picked her up and brought her home, and that's where that's how I started with the first pet.
So you were in school back then, it must be like 10 years or more than that.
More than that.
More than that. So since then you have never stopped, you never looked back, and the journey has like continued.
Loving animals has always been in my bloodline.
Okay.
My family has always had animals in the house, and when I came to a certain age, it's always important for a kid to come to a certain age to get his first pet. So 4 years is what I and my family thought was the right age. So when I brought home my first pet, it was this injured little puppy.
Okay. So since then you have been doing this work and rescuing animals, and like it's an angelic job, like something. So what was the biggest challenge that you have faced from the society?
The biggest challenge that I face with society is that many of them disagree with the work I do.
Okay.
Some of them love the work I do. Many of them want to know what profit I make from this work, because when you keep an animal in the house, especially if you call it a pet, there is no profit out of it. So many people they come over and they say, so many pets, what profit? And then they want to know, where do I get the money to handle so many animals? But it just happens that everything works out, it falls in place. It's like a jigsaw, you just keep putting everything in place, and one day at a time we cover up everything.
So like when you're doing this good deed, God is with you. Do you believe that?
I'll say God is with me, luck is with me.
So are you a religious person in the end?
Not very religious, but when I do get stuck, I have to pray.
Okay.
There is no option but not to pray.
Amazing. That is, as you said, you face so many challenges from the society and all those hurdles and all those obstacles, which you beautifully like cross over. So what inspires you to come here every day with full enthusiasm and full energy and do this job in every morning? What do you think when you just wake up, and what's the motivation behind it?
See, when you have a good place, you're maintaining it well, you're saving animals on a different scale every day, first of all, it becomes a responsibility. This is a responsibility which I've taken on, and that makes me come here every day. I come here every day because I am getting this place to become something what I've dreamt of. Okay, with starting with just one tree, one dog, one cow. Today we are rescuing on a different level. Every day something comes in, something goes out. So it's a duty of mine to be here every day, to maintain this place, to keep this place always green, clean. So that is what makes me come here every day religiously, morning, evening, to get the things running over here.
So do you feel like a mother to all these innocent beings, all these animals?
Oh yes, I feel like a mother because many times it's happened that when we've had baby monkeys who've lost their mother, or puppies who've lost their mother, it's happened many times that I've had to keep them close to me to give them body heat.
Acha,
And I think so that's one thing that only a mother does.
actually.
You can't hear.
Actually,
I've
actually.
never heard a father do it quite on a different scale. But yeah, you find you don't need to be a man or a woman to be a mother. It is the love that you have to give these animals to be a mother, and they don't know their mother because what happens is when they are born, most animals are separated from them. So the first thing is they feel that whoever gives them love is someone they have to look up to.
Okay. This was really beautiful. Now coming on a bit personal side, see, as you spend most of your time, or I must say most of your life over here, okay, like this place is like your second home or your first home?
My second.
I say your second home. So you spend most of your time over here. So I don't think that you have got any energy left to do something else when you go home after this. So are your parents like comfortable? Are they cool with it? Or do you struggle convincing them that this is what I want to do, I want to pursue? Or what hustle do you have with your parents back at your home regarding this work?
Till date, I have not actually faced such a issue. Yeah, every parent does want their kid to be someone to go to office, sit with a tie on, and many people do think that that is what I should have been doing, and what I was actually to be actually sitting in a place like that. But I followed my passion. At the end of the day, I followed my passion. That's what my mother recognized in me, that this is what he wants. And from a small age, I have been doing my work really well. So when you're good at something, automatically your parents feel that that's what you are built for, that's what you've been sculpted for. So that is why so far I don't get any taunts from them that you are doing nothing, and they are very proud of what I am doing. And yeah, I do sometimes get stopped for when I just exceed something like overfunding or the expense chart just bounces out of level. Yeah, then I do get questioned that why I'm going out of line. But I think so if you don't break the rules at times, you can't get what you want in life. So that is the
Crazy man. So you had this passion like since your very early ages, since your school age or since your childhood.
In fact, since I started crawling, I thought I was an animal. And I, for a very long time, for a very long time when I was small, I used to be always on my paws. Always. I used to be trying to think that I'm a lion, walking like that, roaring. I'm very good with animal sounds, so I used to imitate. I used to see different animals, the way they sat, I used to sit like that. So sometimes my mother did think that I was not normal. But I never had toys like video games. I always had animal toys.
Okay.
Which we used to get in the market. I had a collection of zoos that I used to make around in my house of all these toys. So it's been in my blood since small, I guess. I've never so far remembered that I have been influenced by cycles or cars or guns or something like that. It's always been that from small I've been influenced by horses. I used to be looking on the TV and looking at horse racing or bird watching. So I mean, something it was just not out of place. I think so I've completely born the right way I was.
Amazing, man. That's what I was saying, that being this different person, being of a different nature and different taste and preferences since your very early age. So did you ever feel a challenge to like mingle up with people of your peer and or your circle and or your alumni? Like, how was it? Did you mingle up with them easily, or were you like the outcasted person?
Most of the time I hardly have friends. Okay? I have a very limited friend circle. Most of them have
like two like friends, no?
Two of them, max to max, I think so in my whole life I've just made 10 very close.
The one thing that you had problems making two-legged friends. Four-leg is not a problem.
Oh yeah, four-legged was never a problem. Two-legged was a problem because it always happened that when I was with them, I was only talking animals, and it just bounced over their head that why is he only talking animals. And many of them liked me talking about it. Mostly in school, I had friends who used to come to me and say that, we've got this animal, what do we do? and I got famous because I think so of my too much talk about
Okay.
animals and too much of running around animals. If assembly was going on in my school and the dog was on the stage, I had all eyes for the dog. When people many interviewed me about that, if you are on a date, where would you date the go on a date with the animal or with the girl? I would say I'd rather take her to the farm. So
Beautiful, man.
to
That's
show her,
beautiful.
not only enjoying the date, but yeah, even showing her that there is life outside a circle that many children are stuck inside. And a lot of them got used to the talk I was into. Many of them lent a ear that okay,
Acha.
let's hear him out. Many are very influenced of what I do, but now I've understood that I need to even give others a time and chance to talk. So when I'm at a party and someone walks up to me, or I'm in the somewhere and someone comes up and they say, you know, we got a dog, I always look at them blank, like I don't know anything about a dog. Because I just somehow feel now it's getting embarrassing when you are in public and someone just knows you because of one topic. So, but yeah, I've had a tough time because if I went to play football, I used to take my dog along,
Acha.
and the dog used to be also had to be part of the football game, which half of them were petrified of my dog. I had a boxer which was
Okay.
loved playing, and he would hardly give the ball. If I was going anywhere on a tour, my animal or dog or something had to go along. So at times it did bother other people that he is not like
Normal.
yeah, no, many people said that यार या तुम अपने जानवर के साथ रहो या हम लोग के साथ खेलो. Animals, having an animal around you is you have to always keep your hands clean. Don't touch us with the same hand. But now I feel that if you have a clean pet, you don't need to keep washing your hands. So that is the difficulties I did face with friends, and but so far most of them have customized now to what I want. So if you want to be my friend, you have to customize yourself to our animal kingdom and then come to me.
Amazing, amazing. So as you mentioned in this answer that about the girl and going on a date, so any relationship in your life, any relationship, like in yours and in mine, it requires love and like compassion and time, a lot of time. But you spend a lot of time and love and compassion. All those things are invested over here in the Syro Farm. So have you ever felt difficulty that this Syro Farm and this passion of yours has crossed ways with your friendships and relationships in personal life? Must have happened.
Yeah, when I was dating, I'm sure the girl was very, very frightened of me suddenly saying, hey, I'll show you something good, and I'm taking out a snake. So
Like
she would, yeah. Okay,
a real snake, right?
A real snake. And
Not
she
your.
would be petrified and she would run for her life. Many of times my own pets attacked her because if she got too close to me, they just didn't like it. So my girlfriend that I was dating has been bitten, kicked, stung, butted because she got too close.
Damn, still she stayed with you?
Yeah, she stayed with me till I think so. I got too much for her. That this guy is more into his animals. I gave like 1 hour of the day to her, and that too she had to come to meet me in my farm while I'm doing some work. She had to cope up with a lot of bleeding animals at times because that's what my work is all about. Or if I was on horseback, she had to literally try to cope up to run beside because she could not ride the horse. So it does get a little difficult when you are wanting to know someone and that person just doesn't like to be anywhere close to animals that are offensive of their own boss. So that is the
amazing, man. So like on this journey so far, the beautiful journey so far, what was the biggest lesson that you learned from all these experiences of your personal life? And like this is also personal, like you be here. What do you learn?
The lesson I have learned is that if you love your passion, you just stick to it.
Okay.
Because tomorrow, what happens is that when you follow your dream of what your parents want, or you follow your dream of what your friends are wanting you to do, just because they are doing something, they want you to do it, you end up in that job as a very unhappy person. First of all, you are messing up the person's you're taking away someone else's job because you're just doing it for sake of just going there, and you're not enjoying your job.
Okay.
And this is a job that I think so I love doing. I've never regretted it. I sometimes do get tired of the job because it
physically tired.
Yes, physically tired of the job because it does drain you out. As I said, this job needs time, dedication, and lot of effort. And
Okay.
if you think that it's going to be all dependent on your staff, you can never run a successful unit unless and until you are the staff.
You have to get your hands messy.
Yes, you have to handle it, especially when you have animals. And when people tell me that we want to keep a horse in our house, the first thing I ask is that can you clean the dung? Can
Obviously.
you clean up the stables?
Ah.
Okay, can you handle the kick of the horse or the bite of your dog? Maybe your dog has a good day and he just does not mess up the house, and one day you come home and the house is messed up. You have to be mentally prepared for the worst time that can come into your life, and the best is always over there. You just have to search it out.
Okay.
So that is one thing I always think that I made the right choice. I think it's a very good time of my life. It was from small that I didn't have a focus to join any other place. Even if I did join, I left it and came back to what I am enjoying.
So as you have decided to continue with this thing, like seems like for the rest of your life, so may I ask, where do you see yourself in next 10 years?
In next 10
have you ever
years,
imagined that, or like going with the flow?
No, it is something that I am worried about, because you can't throughout your life be doing something which is going to drain you out. So you have to
drain you in what way, please?
Drain you out in mentally. This thing does drain you out when you have a lot of animals and no backup. So you need someone to back up. You need someone that can handle the situation in case you are not there. You have a lot of funding. So in 10 years, yeah, we do have a thing that I want to make this place more organized.
Okay.
Where I can also sit back a little and let the younger generation that wants to learn come here, learn, and try to start taking responsibilities that I am right now doing. So in another 10 years, yeah, I do see this place in a very big way. In another 10 years, we will be expanding. But expanding in, I think, so the right step, taking the right steps at times. We have to follow protocols. So in another 10 years, yeah, we do see ourselves customized. We are customized, but in a better way.
So right now you would say that you are in a hustling phase. Would that be right?
Yeah, just now we are. I still say that I'm still enjoying what I'm doing.
Enjoying the journey.
Yeah, but when you enjoy it too much, you're going to mess yourself up.
Okay.
So you have to one day just sit down and actually think that you're enjoying too much, and one day your resources are going to end. So you have to have some sort of backup that tomorrow, that in case I'm not here, someone else can run the unit. So that is what in 10 years we do have some plans.
Great. So being a hustler yourself, like what advice would you like to give that too many hustlers, thousands of millions of youths watching us right there? What advice do you have for them? Because even I, and like all of us, all the youth, we have this like hustle inside us that we want to follow our passion and chase our dreams. At the same time, we have to earn. We have like a family back home, so there is a conflict between two of them, that what we want to do and what the society wants us to do. What advice would you like to give?
I advise every youth watching this, not only youth, I mean old people. Sometimes that life want to retire and they want to start up something. So the main thing is think before you jump into something, because at the end of the day, it is not a job, especially when you're keeping animals. It's not a job of just 1 month or 2 months. It is a job for about 15 years per animal. So you have to be focused that for 15 years you have a responsibility which you can't back up. You have to be there morning, evening, day, night. When it's sick, it's like taking the vows when you're getting married.
Okay, it's a lifelong commitment, no doubt.
It's a lifelong commitment, and you have to be there all the time. You can't just say that, oh, today I'm not in a mood, so I'm not going to go there and walk my horse, or I'm not in a mood, I'm not going to feed my dog. They need to be attended to. You're a parent to them. You have to be there and think once, because many of them out there, they get influenced. Okay, at the end of the day, many people say that you influenced my kid and they want to have a dog because you have a dog. Many want, oh, he's got horses, so my child should be riding. There are a lot of things you have to sit, read, understand, speak to professionals that I'm going to be taking up this thing, is it the right choice? When you've come out of class 12, you want a dog just because you passed your boards, and then when you're going to college, you're dumping the dog with your parents can't look after the dog.
And those dogs end up at you.
And then those dogs end up over here. Especially when
places like these.
Yes, and especially when people choose the wrong breed.
Wrong breed in sense? What do you mean by it?
Wrong breed in the sense is that everyone wants to have a tough, handsome breed in their house.
Okay.
So most of them, they all look towards breeds which are working class animals.
Okay.
Like German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Dobermans, Pit Bulls. These dogs are not meant for cuddling or not meant for one walk and then band diya ghar mein. No, they are breeds who need to work all the time.
Okay.
They need long walks around 5 kilometers a day, 6 kilometers a day. That may be less sometimes for them. They need workouts. So what happens is that when someone sees a Rottweiler at someone's house, and the Rottweiler is a very good looking breed, and then they go home and they say हम Rottweiler रखेंगे.
अच्छा.
और होता क्या है, when we advise them that a Rottweiler is not built for everyone, or a Doberman is not built for everyone, and you bring home that breed, you may keep the dog in a different way, I may keep the dog in a different way.
Okay.
My Rottweiler will not attack even a rabbit that is open in my unit, while your Rottweiler can even attack you. It's the way you bring up your animal.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, when you are left the city, or you've handed it over to your servant to look after it, or you've handed it over to your parents to look after it, and they can't handle it, and then they finally just want to dump that dog, so the dog goes to trauma. It comes to us. We have to work to gain a lot of trust with that dog. The dog needs to gain trust with us. So it's a sad life for an animal once it's thrown out.
Okay.
So I always advise people, don't just look at someone and feel influenced. That guy may be having the money to afford keeping a large animal or even a small animal for existence, and maybe that you don't have the funding to keep it, but just because your friend has it, you're bringing it. So I would advise everyone, as I said, think and then leap into whatever field of you're going into. Just not my field, any field that you're going to. Just first see that if you're built for that job.
Okay, beautiful advice, Cyrus. Oh, Cyrus, this conversation was really enriching. I got to learn a lot as a person, and I hope people who are watching this get to learn a lot. Like relationship advice you gave, the career advice you gave will actually help the youth watching us. On that note, Cyrus, it's a wrap. Okay, thank you for giving us your time and showing us this beautiful place around. Doing a great job, amazing job. Keep it up. All our blessings are with you. Until next time, guys, namaskar.